let's have a look at what we keep out in the fish room, starting with the 5-foot tank at the far end. So what the 5-foot tank contains is a shoal of vittatus African tigerfish, 5 of, as you see coming around. Now this tank, as you may recall from watching previous videos, I've sort of set up just for these fish with a very, very high flow rate. Doesn't look much, this pump's only running at 35% at the moment, but it's enough to give a vigorous flow and constant circulation and movement. Acting as clean-up crew, we have a group of shark cats. Now, if you follow me on Instagram again, you'll know that I'm well aware that these will require brackish conditions as they grow, but that should tie in quite nicely with the progression of these fish as the tigerfish move on to the larger tank. This tank may well become my brackish project. And also in the mix we have just a flagtail, which you can see over coming down here now. Here he comes, and he is there purely for my algae control, and he does a fantastic job. But yeah, these let's talk about the vittatus tigerfish. So these are obviously not as big as the Goliath tigerfish that everyone knows, which is the famous one, which you know, Jeremy Wade catches with the, you know, in the Congo with the massive teeth and put out meat long fish. These should get to, in captivity, pushing the 2-foot mark. I mean, 18 inches would be a fantastic fish. These are currently only, well, when I got them about 2 weeks ago, they're about 3.5 inch each, and that they came in as a wild import, sourced by Glenn at Lee Valley Aquatics. It took me 2 days to get them onto frozen food, and I put that down purely to the flow. You throw chunks of prawn and chunks of mussel into the higher flow, it looks almost live, and they just take it. So they're straight away on frozen food, and another 2 days after that they're taking pellets and sticks. So these fish are doing absolutely fantastic considering they're wild import juveniles. So they will get a lot bigger in this tank. It's actually a good thing to keep them in. This tank might even be a bit too big for them. It's a good thing to keep them in smaller tanks whilst they're young. Tigers are massively powerful fish, and they're easily spooked, and they will dart around. They can cause themselves quite a lot of damage by hitting themselves on the glass. So smaller tanks doesn't allow them to get that much speed up to damage themselves too much. But this is a garage fish room. There's no traffic through here. They don't get spooked, so they're straight in the 5 foot, plenty of flow, and they really are doing really, really well. Shark cats, again being estuarine fish, really appreciate quite a lot of flow as well, so the two mix really well. And I just really like the look of just silverfish in this tank. So minimal decor, trying to emulate a fast flowing river. There's a few cobbles and stones on the base, and some scattered pebbles and cobbles and such like, bits of driftwood. Oh, and there is actually an albino pleco in here as well. You can see him just on the wood over there. Again, that's just for kind of algae control. Trying to grow him out to get him big enough to go in the 10-foot tank. Oh, it'll be a while yet. But these shark cats, what cracking fish they are. I mean, they just look exactly as their name suggests. They are very shark-like. Such good-looking fish. Again, these should grow to about 18 inch would be fantastic. Would require a lot of salt in the water by that point. Those young fish are getting away at the moment with keeping them in fresh water. I should also mention that where I live, just north of London in the UK, our tap water that these are all on is very, very hard. We have a high alkalinity of about nearly 250 ppm alkalinity, and our hardness, calcium hardness, is around 300 ppm. So that's what you call very hard water in anyone's numbers. So that definitely helps with keeping things like shark cats that like it on the high TDS, high alkalinity side. Suits vittatus as well, because they're African riverine fish. They all come from. They're even been found and inhabit Lake Tanganyika. So they more than at home in hard water, so it suits me very well. It's always served well. You'll notice there's a couple of yellow spots, and they are apple snails again, which I have in pretty much every tank, and they're in the sump as well. And that is me just spreading around the apple snails to keep them all healthy, so that when they do go into the Mabuse tank, they're in good nick, and you get a good meal out of them. But yeah, coming back into it, this tank is pretty much purely for the vittatus. I've got a lot of growing to do yet, but I can sit and watch them all day. The teeth on them is something else. I mean, I could try and get a shot up close, but it probably won't work. But there's a bit of glare coming from the sump down there, but if you can get the head profile, you'll see that they've got a great set of teeth on them. Some people call them, like, another common name is African piranha, but I think that doesn't suit them whatsoever. Nothing like piranha. You see the flagtail shoals as if he thinks it's one of them, but he's a big softie. Cracking fish. So that's it, there's no more fish going in this tank. Plenty of room for them. Want to maximise the growth. And we are growing some devil's ivy at the top. I mean, that's spreading around quite well, and you can see the root system already on that is really taking off. That just helps with nutrient export, keeps the nitrates and phosphates low, hopefully to limit the algae growth, but more so gives them a bit of sort of natural shelter when the roots really develop. It gives that riverine look again of like riparian plants just hanging in. Also, when the plants do start to grow, it does look good. From my own point of view. So that's the tigerfish tank. Hopefully I will do updates on this tank with the same fish stock, and we'll just see them getting bigger and bigger and bigger until they can move on to the 6-foot tank. This is their next home. We'll do a video on the 6-foot tank in a little bit. Also, I should say, in the fish room, I do have a lot of Instagram followers and friends that we do sticker swaps for. If you don't see your sticker here, firstly, why have you not made one? And if you have got one, why have you not sent me one? I'm happy to do a swap and send you one back. Hit me up in the comments or message me on Instagram and we'll get that done. I've got a lot of water filled there by my little baby seat. But it's a great tank to keep our eyes on. I mean, there's always movement. That's what I love about tigerfish. So fast and aggressive. And now what we're going to do is with a little feed for them as well. So here we go. So this is a typical feed for these fish. It is some raw king prawn. I always use raw if I can, and some frozen mussels. And also they get pellets, sticks in between, tilapia, whitefish, and as much as I can give them really. I like to vary the diet. So we're going to put some chopped up prawn in now and then see how they go. Right, so what I do is I chop up a whole prawn into lots of little manageable pieces, just bite-sized chunks for the tigers. They've already got a whiff, so I've washed my hands in the water, but we'll see the feeding response now. Just pop the camera down. There we go. Alright, now we put this prawn in. As you can see, taking frozen food, absolutely no problem whatsoever. And their bellies will just get absolutely distorted. Even the shark cats are jumping in on the prawn, they absolutely love it. But these get meaty foods 4 times a week and pellets in between. I mean, some of the chunks they take is absolutely astonishing. This little guy taking too much. and even the shark cats, they feed so aggressively. They literally just rip chunks out of it. Anything too big, they rip chunks off. And true to all catfish, they'll just feed and feed and feed until their bellies are just look like they've got marbles in their bellies. I mean, look at this guy here, look. That was far too big for you, mate. It stays down. And that's what I do. I try and keep them on as meaty a diet as possible. Obviously with a lot of frozen fish, because fish is more their natural diet. Even things like bloodworm and frozen mice, shrimp and krill is a really good food for them. Contains a lot of the trace minerals that they. Obviously, I'm just feeding them fish fillet and prawn without all the guts and gubbins. So whole fish and krill and mussels, just sort of mysis and that, fill the gaps in. What I'm trying to get at here is, as well as pellets and this, a varied diet. Very variety is the key. Same for us, isn't it? You could probably survive eating beans on toast every day of your life, but you would soon get deficiencies. So look at the bellies on these. I mean, they just eat and eat and eat. And these are just tiny babies. I'm so looking forward to them being, pushing a foot long and just taking massive chunks of fish. Straight away the snails are out. That's my scavenge cleanup crew. Adds a little bit of colour to the tank as well in what is otherwise a very silver fish dominated tank. But yeah, that's a nice little successful frozen feed.